Hey everyone, and welcome back to Dead Mall Walking. Today we're in Nashville, Tennessee at Opry Mills Mall, the former site of the Opryland theme park. I know what you're thinking, Opry Mills is very much not a dead mall. But a year or so ago, I was able to get a unique look at this place that I thought you would enjoy. I received a tip from a local that Opry Mills opens its doors a couple of hours earlier to mall walkers, but that not many people actually take advantage of these extended hours. So, after a late night at the honky tonks and an early start the following morning, I rolled up here at 8 AM, only to find the doors locked. As you can see from the video, after wandering around outside for a while, I was able to find a single door that was unlocked and made my way inside. And I really wasn't prepared for what I found in there. 1.1 million square feet of retail space, completely deserted, with the exception of a couple of employees and security guards who crossed my path. In the end, my experience was comparable with another one-time Mills property, the recently deceased Forest Fair Mall, RIP to the food court fish. One part liminal space, one part post-apocalyptic weirdness. My first thought, I get why not many mall walkers come here. The loop of the mall I walked came out to more than 1.25 miles, a round trip of 2.5 miles. And I can easily imagine older folks staggering around here panting, realising that they're more than a mile away from where they parked their car. I made sure to wish these cheerful cleaners a good morning. They were the first people I'd seen all day. For retail fans though, this place is an absolute dream. Walking around when it's empty really feels like trespassing, but as far as I can tell, coming to walk around between the hours of 8 AM and 10 AM is totally above board. Well, I didn't get thrown out by security anyway. Although one definitely did a double take at my GoPro. Although this mall is now owned by the Simon Property Group, there are plenty of remnants left over from its days as a Mills mall. They're a little more prominent later in the video, but if you're not familiar with the aesthetics of Mills malls, they have to be seen to be believed. I always used to refer to their look as Nickelodeon architecture, because it's so reminiscent of the former Nickelodeon studios in Orlando, but I've since learned that there are some technical terms to describe this aesthetic. Here's a security guard on a militarised Segway that looks like it could handle a battlefield. Mills malls, and Nickelodeon's 90s look for that matter, are the progenitors of kidcore. According to Fandom's Aesthetics Wiki, the kidcore aesthetic centres around bright colours, nostalgia for icons from the 90s, and kid themes. While its origins can be traced back to the 70s, 80s, 90s and 2000s, it appears the aesthetic is a nostalgia-based creation of the 2010s. Kidcore owes a great deal to the Memphis aesthetic, to the extent that it's sometimes called Memphis Junior. Popular in the 80s and early 90s, Memphis goes heavy on bright neon, geometric shapes, and zigzagged or squiggly lines, and has been revived in recent years through vaporwave aesthetics. But there's another term, last one I promise, that describes my experience walking around this place. Anemoia, or in a design context, anemoia core. Anemoia refers to a sense of longing or nostalgia for a time that never actually existed. Whatever memories I feel walking around this place aren't necessarily due to my own childhood experience of malls like this in the 90s, but secondhand nostalgia from Saved by the Bell, GAC adverts, and Nickelodeon Studios idents. I can still hear Kenan Thompson telling me that this show was recorded in front of a live audience at Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando at Universal Studios, Florida. But these memories are faded for another reason too. In the year 2000, Mills Corp CEO Lawrence C. Siegel said of Opry Mills, quote, "This will become the mall for mid-America right now. I really believe people will come hundreds of miles to see this thing." He describes a 40-foot tall $500,000 jukebox planned later for the court near Regal Cinemas in Jillian's. He notes a multimedia show in the entertainment court. He concludes that, as you go through this mall, you'll see the colour and stores and the activities and the participatory nature of what we've done here is very theme park-like anyway. End quote. And although a few elements of that remain, the feeling described by Siegel is mostly gone. Well, unless you're a security guard hitting the ramps on a Segway, maybe. In fact, that feeling is gone in most malls, Simon, Mills, or otherwise. Much of the character that was present in Opry Mills' early days, character that you can still feel echoes of when you walk around it, have been muted. There's a reason for that. In 2010, the city of Nashville was hit by a flood that killed 11 in the city and a further 15 across Tennessee and Kentucky. 10,000 people were displaced from their homes and as many properties were destroyed or damaged. One of those properties was the Opry Mills Mall. At the time, the flooding of Opry Mills was the subject of massive conjecture. There are those who said that the mall would never open again. Some residents, perhaps eager for a glimmer of light in the darkness, latched onto rumours that a couple of piranhas had escaped from the aquarium restaurant's 150,000-gallon tank and were swimming around the flooded city. Although the restaurant debunked any rumours of a great escape, one or two Tennessee fishermen a year still claim to catch piranhas that are presumably descended from this intrepid pair of lovebirds. Or, lovefish. Because the mall was built in a high-hazard flood zone, the Simon Property Group saw an insurance payout of $200 million reduced to a maximum cap of $50 million. Although they tried to appeal this move, the Tennessee Supreme Court upheld the ruling, which was undoubtedly a huge blow to Simon. Nevertheless, the group pressed ahead with a renovation process that saw the mall closed for more than 2 years and likely cost the full $200 million that they felt they were owed. I'm no economist, but I would guess that the renovation explains the significant dip in quarterly revenue that the company saw in 2012. Hence the mall's mix of kidcore aesthetics and the beige takeover we saw in the 2010s. But it's a gamble that, ostensibly at least, paid off. Before the flood, Opry Mills was reportedly averaging almost $300 million in sales every year. Looking at it now, or during opening hours anyway, I'd easily believe that they're back to those glory days. Despite the disruption caused by the double header of the pandemic and rising inflation. By all accounts, the mall is so popular that they're able to turn away unaccompanied youths on Fridays and Saturdays. What can I say? It wasn't like that back in my day. Let's duck into the food court for a little bit, which, as far as I can tell, may have relocated here after the flood. If any locals can weigh in on that, please chime in the comments below. Anyway, this is what it used to look like back in the day. It's home to plenty of mall staples like Popeyes, Charlie's Philly Steaks, Burger King, and Panda Express, and is flanked by a couple of larger fast casual chains like TGI Fridays and Chili's. But strangely, only about half of the mall's restaurants are actually located in the food court, with others like Johnny Rockets and Chewy's Mexican food scattered around the rest of the mall. Side note, I've eaten Tex-Mex food in a lot of places, and the steak burrito with hatch green chilies that I got at Chewy's is by far the best I've ever eaten. Highly recommended. The food court is, however, home to a large carousel, which I'm much more used to seeing in dying malls than thriving malls like this one. The carousel often feels like a last-ditch effort to create another revenue stream and attract kids to the mall. Although how would they know it was there unless their parents already visited? With all of the food options and the aforementioned carousel, this place gets seriously hectic during opening hours. It was a refreshing and surreal change to see it so peaceful like this. In fact, that statement goes for the place as a whole. In recent years, Opry Mills has added more and more outlet and factory stores. The wing that we'll be closing in on shortly looks and feels as much like an enclosed outlet mall as it does anything else. As strange as it feels having an outlet mall inside of a regular mall, Simon has been able to get away with it because there is no outlet mall proper in Nashville. The closest outlet mall is in Lebanon, around 30 miles outside of the city, and is being revitalised in 2022. But that's all changing. Tanger Outlets recently broke ground on a 300,000 square foot outlet mall in Antioch, slated to open in 2023. And another 300,000 square foot luxury outlet mall in Nashville was announced this year, to be built by, the Simon Property Group. Maybe there's method in the madness, but if I were in Simon's position, I'd be concerned that this new property risks cannibalising the outlet wing of Opry Mills. Then again, Simon is no stranger to taking risks when it comes to Nashville malls, and maybe this is another one that will pay off for them. So is there anything left of Opryland in Opry Mills Mall? Not really. Despite Lawrence C. Siegel's intentions, the mall doesn't feel particularly theme park-like beyond a couple of quirky attractions and restaurants. The mall feels like a mall. And although that's no bad thing in and of itself, I can't help but wonder if those who remember Opryland feel a sense of loss when they walk around this place. If you have any memories of Opryland, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll be talking more about Opryland in a future video exploring the Gaylord Opryland Resort, a hotel that's adjoined to Opry Mills and definitely does feel like a theme park. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Likes and subscribes are always appreciated, and you'll find some ways to support the channel down below. In the meantime, I'll leave you with this slightly depressing thought. This place was once home to an intricately planned theme park that paid homage to New Orleans and the American West. Perhaps the most extravagant theming in here now? The indoor entrance to Outdoor World. One of the mall's anchor stores, and an enormous one at that. And of course the Rainforest Cafe. You can always rely on the Rainforest Cafe. Until next time, thank you for watching, and goodbye from the Opry Mills Mall in Nashville, Tennessee.